Hi there, Jeff here from the Wetsuit Centre, talking to you today about the Rip Curl Ebomb range. So the Ebomb range for fall 2013 into winter 2014. So with the introduction of the E4 neoprene and the rejigging of the Rip Curl range, I can't say O'Neill, that's bad, O'Neill, I'll start again. Hi there, Jeff here from the Wetsuit Centre, talking to you today about the Rip Curl Ebomb range for fall 2013 into winter 2014. So, with the introduction of the E4 neoprene, it's really benefited the Ebomb, but it's also put a question mark over where it sits within the range of Rip Curl suits, where they've sort of jigged everything around a bit and introduced a few different suits. So a lot of people will be wondering, the sort of key question that we get is what is the difference between the Ebomb Pro and the Ebomb Pro Plus, and the Rip Curl Dawn Patrol chest zip and the Ebomb range itself. Okay, so I did touch on that a little bit if you've already watched the Dawn Patrol video, but I'll walk you through it. But I'll also mention what you get with the suit, so if it's the first time you've actually seen an Ebomb. So, previous years, Ebomb's always been the suit which is all about flexibility, comfort, being lightweight and unrestricted flex in the water. So really, really popular every year with people that just like to feel like they're not wearing a heavy wetsuit. So the Ebomb is really sort of popular with those people. And then you've had the Ebomb Pro and the Ebomb Pro Plus, and the difference between them traditionally was the taping on the wetsuit and the materials used inside the suit. But with the loss of taping, Rip Curl are not bothering with any liquid taping on pretty much any of their suits now, because they feel it's not necessary and restricts the movement of the suit. So the differences have become more subtle, basically. So the biggest difference then is the E4 neoprene. The E4 neoprene is being introduced as a lighter, less absorbent neoprene for fall 2013 to 2014. So it's boasting more flexibility throughout the suit. It's basically lighter, so it feels lighter in the water, and less absorbent as well. So basically takes on less water and dries quicker between sessions, which is a nice point. So the Ebomb is obviously going to be comprised of 100% E4, and that's whether it's the Ebomb Pro or the Ebomb Pro Plus. The difference between the two, and I've got an Ebomb Pro here as well, the difference between the two then is primarily certain panels within the wetsuit and the entry system. Okay, the Pro, being the slightly cheaper of the two, consists of 100% E4 neoprene, but the chest zip panel is zipperless. Okay, so they give a zip-free option for the suit. So really, all about pure flexibility, this suit. No zip across the front. That was introduced this year in the 3.2 and it's been really successful. So they've carried it on through to the winter and basically changed the Ebomb Pro into a zipperless wetsuit. But another key difference, and this is the Ebomb Pro here, you can see sort of distinctive by the little bit of flashes of colour on the suit. The Ebomb Pro Plus does have the zip, but it also has what we call E4 Plus action panels. I like the use of the word action. Now, E4 Plus is actually 20% more stretchy than standard E4. Now, a lot of people kind of ask, well, why don't they just use that the whole way through the suit? It's because it's so stretchy that basically if it ran the whole way through the suit would blow out, and it means it would basically overstretch and it wouldn't have that sort of memory basically to pull back into shape. And so if you had 100% E4 through the whole suit, before you know it, it'd be baggy in weird places and basically it wouldn't fit very well. So they just use it in key areas. With the Ebomb Pro Plus, that basically is the whole underside of the suit here. So this whole panel running across through the back, where you need most amount of flexibility when you're paddling and moving, is basically comprised of 100% E4 Plus. That's the difference between this and the Ebomb Pro. Okay, so I'll walk you through each suit. They're quite simple in terms of structure, same as the Ebomb always has been. Very similar shape, so minimal panelling. You don't get thermal lining, you don't get liquid taping, you don't get smooth skin panel across the front because that makes the suit heavier. And so they take all of that out. Minimal seams basically gives you a huge amount of flexibility throughout the suit, and now it's even lighter and less absorbent. So they sort of demonstrate the flex of the suit. It's always a sort of good test. Not that your arms are going to stretch this long, but it just basically means that it's a very flexible, very lightweight wetsuit. And that's the whole way through. You know, it's not just exclusive to the upper body. The whole way through the suit, huge amount of flex. So this suit feels more like a summer suit when you've got it on. It feels fantastic when you're actually in the water. The seams are, for anyone that's sort of unfamiliar with this particular type of seam, glued and blind stitched basically means that the suit is stitched halfway through, on the other side is glued to seal it so no water can get through, and then you do have what we call E4 taping, which is different from last year, throughout certain critical areas of the suit where you need a bit of reinforcing. They've done that instead of the liquid taping because it's less restrictive feels better against your skin, also is still very, very effective at keeping out water and keeping the suit nice and durable. I'll turn the suit inside out for you in a second so you can see that. So the key difference between this and the Ebomb Pro. The Ebomb Pro Plus has the zip. It's an outward-going zip, basically, chest zip, over the head, pieces of neoprene. The actual suit itself is brought up really high so no water can come in through the side. If any water does come in through the side, it comes out through the drain holes in the front of the suit here and around the back of the suit there as well. So the water drains out through there. Any water that comes in through the collar tends to sort of meet this piece of neoprene, which will be flush against your body and guide out of the wetsuit as well. It's inevitable that you will get some water inside the suit on sort of heavy wide hats and stuff like that, but no wetsuit's going to stop that basically. So the chest zip entry system zips up here basically, it comes up nice and high and keeps the water out. The shape of the suit as well, it's worth noting around the back here, you've got like a four-way stretch properties it's called. So the reason they dip that down there is not just for the draining, it's also basically to give sort of stretch that way as well, so the seam's not stopping the wetsuit moving. And you can imagine with that sort of E4+, the suit itself feels incredibly lightweight and soft to the touch. And that E4+ panel, it's just nuts, it's so stretchy. So you can imagine if you had 100% made of this suit, I don't think it would be very warm. It couldn't be basically because it couldn't sort of stick to your body that well. But using it just in the sort of like action areas, the dynamic areas like around the lumbar, it's a really nice idea to give you even more flex, and this suit will feel fantastic. Swapping back to the Ebomb Pro then, and having a little look at this suit, and this is the zip-free option. So you don't have, as you can see, you don't have that E4+ panel through the back of the suit. But you do have the zip-free option, basically. It's essentially the same thing, but without the zip. So people are probably wondering how the hell you get into it. I'm not going to show you right now, but I did do in the 3.2 version. So if you want to check out our YouTube channel, you'll be able to sort of see that video of how I got in and out of the suit. But essentially, what you do, because it's the same in principle, goes up and over your head, but instead of just sort of zip breaking it up, you pull it to one side, and then you open the suit up nice and wide, turn it inside out. That'll allow you to get the suit on like this and then pull it up and over your shoulder like that. So it's basically still not too hard to get in and out of. And not having a zip on the front of the suit does feel good. I was a bit dubious when we first got these suits. I thought, is that really going to make that much of a difference? But when you try it on, not having a zip does feel great on your chest basically. So when you're arching your back, paddling, surfing, kite surfing, whatever you're doing basically, to have that extra flex through the chest does feel nice. That zip pushing against your chest. So that's the Pro. I'll go back to the Pro Plus when I turn the suit inside out, probably because just simply there's a little bit more going on inside this suit. So if I turn it inside out quickly, you'll be able to see where the panels of E4 Plus are, and then the standard E4 on the inside as well. And then you'll also be able to see the E4 taping. Okay. Now the taping is quite interesting actually, because the difference used to be between the Ebomb Pro and the Pro Plus used to be the taping. The Pro basically had the liquid taping on the lower part of the suit just to give it more durability, but it was actually cheaper. And then the Pro Plus didn't, because it had more flexibility and it was more expensive. It kind of makes a bit more sense now in terms of the sort of difference in price, because the Pro Plus you're getting a higher grade of neoprene and you're not getting less in effect by losing the liquid taping. Okay, so inside of the suit, it's really grey, quite a nice colour actually. So silver the whole way through, that's the E4 Plus, sorry, the E4 the whole way through the suit. E4 taping, you can see it's pretty much through like the whole suit. Really unrestricted flex throughout the suit through that E4 taping. And then you can see the lighter grey is the E4 Plus. So through here, and I believe it will be under the arms as well. That sort of grey material there. It's actually not that different in terms of sort of colour, so you probably can't really tell on the video. But yeah, basically that's where the E4 Plus sits throughout the whole suit. So essentially that's everything going on with the Ebomb this year. For people that are sort of looking for a wetsuit which has got a huge amount of flexibility, really robust, and will feel great in the water, then the Pro Plus is, a really good option. And then the Pro is going to be a bit of a cheaper option, but then if people like the idea of being zipperless, it gives them a sort of another sort of angle in the rip curl range. Now the Door Patrol we talked about earlier looks very similar to these two, but the the neoprene running through the Dawn Patrol is the fluid flex in the lower part of the body. So it's more a sort of a compromise between affordability and warmth and that kind of thing. So the reason the Ebomb's more expensive is basically the E4 the whole way through the suit, and then you also get the E4 Plus with the Pro Plus throughout the sort of lumbar region of the wetsuit as well. So definitely a wetsuit recommendation, Wetsuit Centre recommendation for winter 2014 for people that are looking for a nice flexible wetsuit.